Thank you, Neil. Good to see you again. A quick turnaround, isn't it, from last night? I guess having slept on it, what are your immediate reflections on the game last night?
Just one of what might have been. That's all, really. I mean, we could have lost the game in the first half, and then we could have won it in the second. It's I mean, they are a good team. The squad's fabulous, really. So, all credit to the boys for keeping going and then really having a go second half.
Yeah, I guess in a way, it's a point that you can certainly build on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can ask. I can only ask and get the effort out of the team, really. And it is, we know we need 3 points, etc. But when you come up against these teams, you've got to get whatever you can, really, and move on.
You mentioned you could have lost it in the first half, won it in the second. For you as a manager, Neil, how do you give your side the best chance of getting that full performance over the 90 minutes?
I think it's not difficult. I'm going to say difficult because it's just confidence, really. They were so low on confidence when they got the ball in the first half. They gave it away so quickly when no need to do that. They got to talk more to each other. Make sure, if they've got time, they can tell them they've got time. The next don't want to them. And I thought second half, everybody was shouting and talking and we were 20, 30 yards further forward, the defenders, and made it compact and more difficult for them to get out, really, a lot better.
I guess some will look at the equalising goal and maybe say there's a slice of luck there. But I guess when you are in the position you're in, that's sometimes welcomed and needed, isn't it?
Yeah, we haven't had much luck. Like I said, I got a letter this week, saying 2 penalties should have been given, which is no consolation when you don't get the penalties, especially when they could have been winning goals. So you've just got to get on. You make your own luck, I think, in football at times,
Yeah.
and I thought we made that by being positive in the second half. I'm disappointed we didn't really score another goal because when you look at the chances, we had the better chances, really.
Yeah, it's just still a case of putting the ball in the back of the net, isn't it? You've mentioned on Monday that's something you were working on extra. Is that message still there, hammering that message home?
Yeah, I asked the lads, can somebody tell me what it's like to score first? But none of them remembered, I don't think. I think it's about 3 years ago, isn't it? Something like that. So, it must be nice to on the touchline when you're 1-0 up.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
I hope before the end of the season I get that feeling.
Fingers crossed down at the Den. You mentioned after the Birmingham game, and we know it's almost a catchphrase of yours, Neil. Your players running through brick walls for you, dying for you. Have you seen that since the Birmingham game from your side?
I have, yeah, I have. Even the disappointments at the Coventry, it wasn't a lack of effort. It was just ill discipline, really, on decision making and conceding stupid goals, which I thought we got away with. And then, we know what the penalty was like at West Brom, which was just a sloppy, lazy challenge, really. And that just shows you all that effort at West Brom, and you all undone by a lazy foot going out. It is destroying at times. But as I said to the lads, we just got to go. We've got to get on with it now. West Brom didn't have a shot, and I don't think Norwich had many either. So all credit to them because they did start well, and I think because they lost the last game, Norwich, they started on that front foot, and they are a good side. Like I say, you've got to hang in there because everybody's going to get the moments in a game. And I thought we had most of the moments in the second half.
It must be some consolation, despite not getting the 3 points, that the effort, the belief is still there, because some outsiders looking in may look the position they're in. Some players might mentally check out. But from what you've told me, you clearly don't feel that's the case.
Oh, no. I mean, all I've set myself out to do is try and make sure every player that goes out on the pitch gives everything, knows what they're doing, and we can give the fans something to cheer about between now and the end of the season. And I thought last night they were very appreciative. I thought they were good second half. But we had to make them be like that. We had to get on that front foot and get the crowd up. And then the crowd didn't let us down at all. I thought they were magnificent second half.
Going forward on to Millwall, do you have any fresh team news concerns, injury concerns, or anything for Saturday?
No, not really. I think, Wardy just felt a little bit in there, but nothing untoward, really. 1 or 2 lads come off. That obviously you can imagine it's a quick turnaround. That they've had an extra 24 hours and no travelling. Millwall, so it's an slight advantage to them. But I think they just got to get on with it. It's the Championship. We know what it's going to be a difficult game. I've got a lot of time for Gary Rowett, and it's going to be an entirely different game to Norwich. But we've got to get up for the battle, up for the challenge, really.
Just quickly on that team news, your Scott Hayes, your Dwayne Holmes, your Anthony Knockart, are their situations still the same going into the weekend?
Yes, they are, yeah. I think an international break will hopefully sort one or two of those out.
Great. On Millwall, obviously, it's a hostile place to go at the best of times, not least for a former Crystal Palace and QPR manager. What are your memories of going down to the Den, and how are you feeling ahead of Saturday?
I don't think I've ever gone down to the Den playing in pink, if I'm honest. I don't think I'll be wearing it on the bench. But it's a hostile place, but it's great atmosphere. Yeah. And they do an awful lot, I know they get some stick, but off the field, the foundation and places like that, they're brilliant local community club. And I've got a lot of time. George Saville was with me at Middlesbrough. Lovely. He's a lovely lad. And, Gary Rowett, I've got a lot of time for him as well. So, they play to the strengths. And if we don't match them in that, they'll bulldoze us.
Do you almost feel on yourself, Neil, when you go to a ground like the Den, okay, there might be a bit of banter flowing back and forth. It might occasionally cross the line, but do you always feel for yourself there's a bit of mutual respect there despite that?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I mean, I think that's how it is. I think they appreciate that I give them a bit back, really. But it's one of those places, you've got to prepare yourself mentally when you go to Millwall. Because if you're not, you get destroyed. And that's why, all credit to Gary. They look like they're going to get in the playoffs. And if they're in the playoffs, I don't think many teams would want to play them two legs, really, even though they'll be underdogs. They've got a great team spirit. And that's what you look for, really. That's what you try and build. And, in a short space of time I've been here, I'd like to think the last 2 or 3 performances, we've really built something. And you can see, you see people like Karoma who are doing astronomical sort of meters covering the ground, learned, when I first game I saw him, he was offside 10 times. And I told him he'd never play my team if he did. And I don't think he'd been offside since. So I've been pleased how they take things on board. Some of the young lads, I thought Tyrese did well the other night in Diarra when they come on. And that's what they've got to do. We've got to use the squad, really, with so many games.
And similar to West Brom and Norwich, it's another team who will have the pressure on them because they're chasing an achievement in themselves, aren't they?
Well, they are. I mean, we've got Middlesbrough next and then Watford away. I mean, it keeps coming, doesn't it?
It's normally you telling me not to remind you.
I know, they keep coming, but I think you've just got to, at my age, you've got to keep a smile on your face and enjoy every minute, which I am doing. What will be, will be. We are working hard to try and, I'm hoping that I can leave the club where they know where they are and they're going forward, and people behind the scenes are working really, really hard for that. And that's all I can do, really. I'm glad I come now, if I'm honest. Sharon said about trying to help the fans, being brilliant with us. And I think the fans can see what I'm doing, really. I think they appreciate that the lads are giving everything. And yes, we are limited, but hey, let's give them a good game, these teams.
It up.
You mentioned Millwall playing to their strengths, one of their big strengths this year. They're top of the league for set-piece goal.
Oh, they're brilliant at set pieces and long throws and you name it. And they are within the rules, so why not? I'm happy with that. I wish we'd got a long throw. Apparently Dwayne's got one, hasn't he? Dwayne Holmes. But, he's not playing, is he? So
I was about to ask if you'd like to see your team getting more goals from set pieces, but I guess you just want more goals in general, don't you?
I do, really. I think set pieces are important. I mean, Tom's had the best chance, hasn't he, really? Tom Lee's. Johnny just got to put it on target and it's a goal. So it is disappointing that we've not scored more, but I think we've been more positive lately with the set pieces. I think the quality's been better as well, if I'm honest.
International break coming up, as you've mentioned. What sort of your priorities looking ahead to that?
Just to make sure that the senior lads, they've had a lot of games. We've got to prepare, got to have a little bit of time off. and come back in the middle of the following week and have a couple of good days physical wise, and then get ready for the Middlesbrough game. You know, it's be a cracking. I am looking for. I mean, you know, I built a team up there that I thought could have got promotion the year I was there. But anyhow, we'll talk about that next press conference.
Yeah, fair enough. But it is a chance to get some of those players back, as you mentioned, isn't it? That could be
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, you know, I've spoke to the physios, and they're definitely going to be pushing on in training next week, these lads. So will be a boost.
It's going to be quite an effort for Town fans to get down to the Den this weekend with train strikes, tube strikes. It's not ideal, is it? When you
absolutely scandalous, isn't it? It is scandalous. Don't let's get into politics. You know what I'm like. I get, you know, I better not say.
I wasn't looking for a political angle, but just you know, I guess it's just extra appreciation for those who do.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't matter how many. They'll be there. They'll be there. And I thought they were very, very good at West Brom, if I'm honest. And I know that was an easier journey, but you know, you can't fault them for having a weekend off. But the numbers that turn up will be vocal, I'm sure.